Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, A Slice of Spice and a Dice movie reviews. Today we are going to be talking about Fear Street 1978. This is the sequel, the middle of the trilogy of films that are out on Netflix. Now y'all, it is rare that I hype up a sequel as much as I'm probably going to do with this one. But it is what it is, so let's talk about it and decide, did it make me put my phone down? And is it worthy of a slice, a spice, or a dice review? Fear Street 1978 is the second installment in a trilogy of films released on Netflix in 2021. The books are adapted from the R.L. Stine book series. In 1978, a summer of fun turns into a gruesome fight for survival as a killer terrorizes Camp Nightwing and the cursed town of Shadyside. Okay, so in 1978, we get a little bit deeper into the backstory, number one, of Shadyside, number two, of this witch's curse, number three, of some of the characters that we met in part one, or that were being introduced towards the end of part one. The director Lee Yaniak, in my opinion, is making a huge splash with this trilogy of films, and I am here for it. I am definitely on the lookout for what comes from this director next. Now y'all, we have reached that point in this little review where before we go further at all, we're going to have to make our little announcement. Now, I'm not going to talk about big twists, big plot points, all that kind of stuff. There will still be mystery left to this if you want to hear what I have to say for the rest of it. But if you want to go into it completely not knowing anything about it, then just be warned that we are entering spoiler alert nation. Okay, now if you watch my review on part one, you might remember me saying, you know what, part two looks like it's serving some Friday the 13th vibes. Well, let me tell you what, okay. 100%. I was like, oh yeah, this is Friday the 13th part one. Not saying they copied the storyline, anything like that, but the aesthetic, 100%. All the way down to the way the characters looked, the campground they were at, you know, the little flat throwback to the bow and arrow scene, all that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, this is just stuff that you find at a camp a lot of times too, but I do think that was intentional. Now, kind of a side note here, and I'm curious to see what y'all think. These are some other things that I was like, I wonder if this has any, you know, symbology or whatever you want to call it. So first of all, one of the characters' names was Alice. Now if you remember, the survivor girl from Friday the 13th part one was Alice. Also, the same person who was named Alice, and this could be just be me, let me know what y'all think. I think that she totally looks like, in Fear Street, one of the characters from Last House on the Left, the original one. I'm going to put some pictures up here. I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if it was just whatever, but as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, Last House on the Left, that looks like her. Oh, and her name's Alice. That was a survivor. So anyways, let's keep going. So like I said in the very beginning, y'all, this one right here, I'm going to go ahead and say it was better than part one. To me, what made it better than part one is, for me, it just immediately started off and didn't let up. I was like, whoa, okay, here this ride is going. This is intense. Maybe it's because of my, you know, nostalgia for Friday the 13th. I grew up on that, and I was like, oh my God. But that was there. It was more action-packed. It just had a lot more going on. It felt like more of an intense roller coaster ride, if that makes sense. Now, all that being said, okay. Yo, they crossed some damn lines in this one, okay? I mean, and I'm not going to tell you what happens again, but for me, when I was watching, I was like, ooh, Lord have mercy. I mean, you know, I can't believe they did that. There was clearly a line always in the sand with that. No one else has crossed it, but they crossed it. Now, did this turn me off from the film? No. What it did is it shook up my reality and expectations, where I was like, whoa, well, my God, anything's possible now. Now, another thing that this film did really good is that, to me, it gave a lot of backstory. So again, if you remember in part one, I talked about Shadyside versus Sunnyvale, the two like opposing towns and almost forces, if you will. So in this film, again, you're going back in time to 1978, and you're getting more of a vibe of, okay, this has always been like a Shadyside thing, and we're seeing how deep that runs in this town versus that town, that type thing. So the backstory was really good. It painted a clear picture, and it also made it feel like, to me, where I was like, okay, we're closer to getting some of these answers. What those answers are, I'm not 100% sure. There could be numerous ones for different people. But nonetheless, I was like, I want to know these answers. Let's keep going. We need to watch part 3. So I'll say this. As opposed to part 1 had this vibe of like I said, almost like Hocus Pocus, almost like Disney film gone bad. And not bad in that way, I should say, but like they ventured to the wrong side of the tracks, you know. And I was like, you know what, this is more of a tame horror. Part 2, I was like, this is a horror film. This is a slasher film. But again, that to me is what they were going for with this whole vibe of Friday the 13th. It's a slasher film. And so this had that energy to it. And I really think that the director did such an excellent job at differentiating those two things between part 1 and 2. Because a lot of times it's like, okay, here we go, we're going to get another thing from them. And I'm like, wow, no, this, you know, she did an amazing job. And it makes me also say, so again, I'm going to just say this before I watch it. I think that part 3 is serving the Village vibes. I can't remember the movie. It's actually recent. I think it's called The Witch, about that goat. I don't know the name of it. If you do, drop it in the comments. I'll probably find it after I record. I do this when I record these things and I come up with something in the middle of it. I'm like, I don't know the name of it. Let's figure it out. Now, what this ultimately comes down to, though, is did it make me put my phone down? And does it deserve a slice, a spice, or a dice, or all 3? First of all, with the phone, absolutely. The movie went out with the phone, hands down, okay? I was like, oh, mama jama, we're here for it. As far as a slice of spice or a dice, it gets all 3 in my book. This is a cut yourself out a little piece of pie, get your pumpkin spice, get your campfire going, and get ready for some dicing up, because this serves it all. It has the fall vibes, it has the nostalgia, it has the slasher horror film thing going on, it has a little bit of a good storyline going that makes you want to be like, what is part 3? Or if I haven't seen part 1, let me go back and watch it. I am here for it. I highly suggest this one. And I hope that I can say the same about part 3. Now, that's it for this. If you want to hear me dish on like true crime updates and true crime stories and stuff like that, be sure to check out my other channel, Report Live from a Sofa. And the link is in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all on my next movie binge. Until then.